Let's talk about the emergency alarm.
Yeah, let's.
Alert.
Thank goodness it's a nice blue sky and a sunny day today, and there's no extreme weather to warn us about.
Absolutely.
Because that is one of the major purposes of these emergency alerts. They are for an extreme, severe danger to life, such as floods, wildfires, fires, and extreme weather.
Tornadoes.
Now, extreme weather is the one to watch. Because if you think about weather reports over the last year, we were getting amber weather warnings dished out like sweets on balmy sunny days. Big exclamation marks and, lots of danger. Carry your water. It's going to be hot on a summer's day. I know I'm making light of it a little bit, but that has been very much a deliberate strategy.
Well, I grew up in a time when we didn't get any warnings about anything. We travelled all the way across Europe without seatbelts. I lived dangerously. I don't really need to be told it's going to be a bit hot.
How did we manage?
I don't know.
I don't know how I've gone 50 years on this earth without emergency alerts. But
I'm sure the do-gooder sort of brigade would say, oh, but a lot more people died in car crashes then. Well, maybe, but I didn't.
The thing that I'd really like to draw people's attention to, I wrote about it on my Substack. I haven't really seen anyone else point this out, but I think it's really important, actually. There's something significant about the day that was chosen to test emergency alerts. Now, the first test was going to be on Mother's Day, and there was a bit of anger about that. You're going to spoil everyone's Mother's Day lunches with these sirens going off, everyone's phones squealing and quaking as we're drilled for disaster and fear. So the date was rearranged, but it was changed to St. George's Day. So I think it's interesting that on a day that we would normally celebrate our patron saint, who represents chivalry and courage, we were being told that we have to pay attention to our phone to prep us
Although, to be honest,
for disaster and fear.
Yeah, but every day has got some kind of day attached to it now. You can't get any day that isn't something or other World International Day of, tortoises or something. Every single day now there's a day for it, isn't there?
I think so, but I think St. George stands above Tortoise Day.
Does it?
I think the patron,
not for everyone.
The patron saint of England is a significant day, and it's actually one that we normally hear about because we're told, oh, he was a Palestinian or a Turk.
You got the Ramonas telling you
got nothing to be proud of, you English lot. This year, of course, it was just completely by the by because we were all focused on the idea of our phones emitting unwanted sirens.
Right. Although I did switch mine off, to be fair. Yeah,
and I did too. I actually think this is something of a litmus test for who you are as a person. Do you want a big government keeping you safe, or do you see it as the nanny state? Do you see your phone as your private property for your communication, or is it a government pager in your pocket? Do you, as far as St. George's Day, is it a day for a saint, for courage, to celebrate being British, or is it a siren for fear? There's a way in which it's quite a divisive tactic in the end, and I think a lot of people did turn their alerts off.
A lot of people did.
Which I think is actually quite an encouraging sign. And also, a load more people didn't actually get it anyway. Because, the one thing you can be sure of, no matter what the government wishes to impose upon us, is they won't do it very well. Because they can't. They can't seem to make anything work particularly well. In my household on Sunday, one person got it sort of 7 minutes late, another one got it twice, 20 minutes late, and somebody else didn't get it. There was all sorts of stories that we did on Monday of people who didn't get it at all, people who were on the 3 network apparently didn't get it. So, the Welsh language was messed up, which would be really bothering people in Wales. And, some people got it in the early hours of the morning. But, to be fair, a test is to iron out the wrinkles. But, this number of wrinkles could have been... Are they going to do another
test? Will they do a test? I was having arguments with people, as you might expect, saying things like, well, don't you ever test the fire alarm? Well, yeah, you test the fire alarm because that's in case you have a fire. But you don't test an emergency alarm for nothing at all, just in case nothing at all happens. You don't know what it's for. Nobody knows what it's for.
I can pretty much guarantee this will be misused. Now, we do have a risk of flooding in this country in certain areas. And, of course, there's an idea that could be useful, that you could get an early heads up you're going to be flooded.
Well, how do you know where you're living, though, that it's going to be affecting you? Or, how do they know that it's going to be affecting you?
Because it's local. It goes from regional masts to people in the area.
No, I get all that. I know what the actual, niceties are of the way they think it will work. But the fact is that you might be travelling somewhere that they don't know you're travelling to, for example, and you might need to know that there's a flood, or you might just find out a different way, like you do at the moment.
I'll be honest, I was playing devil's advocate. I think you can imagine, I don't think we need this even for flood alerts.
No.
A study was actually done among adolescents, a small one, back in 2017. And it was interesting, there were quite a few comments from these young people saying, well, we'd then check social media to see if it's real, because they were quite aware that something like this could be misused for scamming or phishing, or we'll wait for somebody in authority to tell us what to do.
Right.
The study concluded that
emergency alerts would be an effective way to communicate with adolescents. But the conclusion was that they were likely to be compliant. So the measure of the test was, will people do what they're told? The reason these teenagers were likely to do what they were told is because the tests made them panicky, worried, anxious. And, you know, there's this, I just think that increasingly there's this feeling that it's right for government to tap into a pervasive culture of fear, to trigger our anxiety, to make us do what we're supposed to do. And there's another angle to it. It's about responsibilisation. So if the government can ping you, it's up to you to have your phone on you. It's up to you to pay attention and do what you're told. But that just deflects away from the fact that the government actually should be building better infrastructure and plans to prevent floods, to prevent the emergencies.
That would be a good idea.
Spend the money on the frontline services or flood prevention.
Or stop building houses on floodplains. How about that for an idea?
Do that. You know, there's so many things that make a lot more sense than a somewhat unreliable alarm that you're supposed to pay attention to. And if you heard people in emergency services and public agencies talking about this in the lead up, you know, they were using the word need a lot. People need to do what they're told. It's very autocratic language. It's telling you what you have to do, what your responsibility is in an emergency, beyond just having common sense as an adult. And what it does is totally deflect away from the responsibility of the government to do its job to try and prevent the emergencies happening in the first place. What I can guarantee will happen within a year or two is we'll start getting extreme weather alerts. Oh, it's a hot day. Pack your hat.
Right.
It's.
I don't want my phone going off every 5 minutes because of something that they think is going to be possibly dangerous or not. Do you?
No, absolutely not. My phone is my private property. So, I mean, I use it for some non-personal business like sat-nav. I use it for work emails. I use it to communicate with your lovely producers here. I use it for things that are not at all personal, but I also use it to store my family photos on. I use it for my diary. You know, we use it to intimately message our lovers. It is a private piece of property that sits in your bag, your bedroom, and in your pocket.
And the idea
it is not for the government to communicate with me on.
To prove to you, if you like, that they know where you are as well. I'm not very keen on that either.
Absolutely not. And I think it's the thin end of the wedge. My emergency alerts are off and they are staying off. I'll take a leaf out of St George's book and not the government.
Well, what was interesting was that just before Saturday, I think it was, I got a message from a friend of ours actually, to say there's a backdoor alarm in your phone, which you also have to shut down. I don't know if you know about this, but if you've got an iPhone, it was in home, as opposed to where the alerts are at the bottom of the notifications. And so I changed that as well. And I half expected when I put it all back on again on Sunday, because I did, just to see if they would then sound, and it didn't. So I missed it altogether. It didn't store it in any way. It didn't sort of come back to haunt me later. I still haven't heard it.
No, nor me as well. And I think there's a very good chance if I get an unwanted siren on my phone, I'm going back to an old Nokia brick. The idea that the government can make my phone squeal upon its command is just horrific.
See, look, my alerts are back on. I wonder if I put them back on. I forgot to put them off again now. Anyway, but I don't want to have to spend my time checking to see whether the bleeding alarm is on or off. You know, I just don't like noises like that going off for no apparent reason.
No, it's not a government pager. It's our phone, isn't it?
It really is. Also, I don't need to be told about every single thing that's coming if it's not particularly bothersome. You know, like when's the next time there's going to be a wildfire affecting me? I live by the river. You know, there isn't going to be one, to be honest, is there?
Almost certainly not. And that's the thing. What it does is create this general sense of anxiety. Oh, no, there could be a disaster. There could be a problem. It's making you primed for danger. This is no way to live life. And
also, you said that a lot of younger people are anxious about these things. They've been sort of educated to be anxious, haven't they? Because younger people are now less resilient. We were talking about the whole bullying conversation last week with Dominic Raab and how now it's more difficult to get people to do what they're told to do. You know, organisations, whether they're public sector or private sector, you know, people were saying things on TV and radio like, well, it's a very different world now, you know. You can't just order people around because they won't accept it.